I had published a book called Write Within Yourself. It's my first book I published about writing, and it's a sweet little collection of essays about the creative process. I loved writing these essays, and I loved putting the book together. Loved everything about it. Just the kind of book I would want to read, and which is why I published it. But I understood it's kind of a niche book. You've got to be interested in writing and creativity, but that's okay. To some degree, every book's a niche book in some way or another. So I had published this book, and I was invited to take part in something called Wine and Words. It was being thrown at a place called Gilman Village in Issaquah, Washington, which is this beautiful outdoor mall. And the idea was every store would host a local author, myself included, and a local winemaker, because wine and words go together, don't they? Yes, people drink glass of wine, read books, of course. And so the author would sit there in some store, one of these many stores, with his or her books, and the winemaker would be there with their wine as well. And people could go through, they could taste the wine, talk to the author, buy some wine, buy some books. Great combination. So I thought. It quickly became apparent to me after I was situated in a store dedicated to recycled goods, but that's fine. It was a lovely store. After I was situated there at my table with my books on writing, little collection of essays on writing and creativity, it quickly became apparent to me that this little evening gathering at Gilman Village was a lot more about the wine than the words, because it's one thing to you taste free wine. That's a lot of fun. In fact, I would see all the participants come in with their little tin cups they were holding, which they all got somewhere. I don't know. They got these little tin cups, and they would go walking in, and they got to taste the wine for free. And if they liked it, they got to buy some, but they got to taste it for free. And that's fine. But it's another thing altogether to go up to a stranger who has a book for sale and talk to them about this book and buy it or not. Can you imagine going into a bookstore and next to every single book on the shelves was the author who you had to say, "What's your book about?" "Oh, yeah? No, thank you." "What about yours?" "What's that?" No, thank you." No, no. It's kind of awkward. It's kind of awkward. And I put this together almost immediately. I sat there and I said, "Oh my God. Oh, this doesn't work. Nobody's going to want to talk to me." But I want to be clear about this. I didn't take it personally. I really chalked it up to the event, which didn't really make sense in my mind, particularly for the kind of book I wrote. So, and this is an important part of the story. I wasn't hurt. I didn't think that the people's and by the way, when they would come in, they would do this thing where they would be afraid to make eye contact with me because it meant they would have to talk to me. Oh, it was so uncomfortable. But I didn't take it personally. And I did not think it was in any way a reflection on the quality of the book. Very important. I understood what was going on. So, okay. So this goes on for half an hour, 45 minutes, and I'm talking to the young man who works at the store, and we talk, and then I get bored of talking to him, and I'm sitting there thinking, how long should I stay? This is kind of pointless. And like I said, I got kind of bored, and I was so bored, I decided, what the heck? I don't care. I got to talk to somebody who isn't this guy who we've run out of things to say. And this one man was going by with his little tin cup, and he had just tasted the wine, and he kind of glanced my way. And so I simply said, "Hey, do you like to write?" And he said, "Well, I got a business, and I just started a blog for it, or I'm thinking of starting a blog for it." And I said, "Oh, well, businessmen, entrepreneurs, they're a lot like writers. We have a lot in common." And I, at this point, looked down at the book, was holding it in my hands, and I thought about the book and how much I loved it and why I wrote it and what the point of these little essays were, what the point was. And I said, entrepreneurs and writers, we're a lot alike. We are. We have an idea and we want to share it with people, but you don't know whether people are going to want to buy it. And I don't know whether people are going to want my book, but I know I believe in it. And I know I was glad I wrote it, just like you believe in your product. And at this point, I turned my attention to the book completely. And I just started thinking about why I wrote it. And I started thinking about how much I believed in it and how much I wanted to. It was written with the intention of encouraging writers who were filled with the uncertainty I knew so well. And so I just started talking about that and why I wrote it. And I said, because I know what it is to wake up every day. I said, I know what it is to wake up every day and not know what I will write and where it will going, but knowing I am interested in what I'm working on, and knowing that I am interested in the value of what I'm working on, and knowing that I care, and knowing that that's, and at which point he did something which I felt immediately was maybe a little rude. He interrupted me to say, well, can I buy a copy? And at that moment, boys and girls, I understood marketing. I had marketed a book to him. But that's not what I was doing. I didn't think I was marketing a book. I wasn't actually trying to sell him anything. All I did was go to the same place I went whenever I wrote, when I wrote that book, and talked from that place. That's all I had to do. I wasn't focused on what he would think of that. I just got excited about my own product, about my own story. So that's lesson number one of fearless marketing. You don't have to read people's mind. Your job is to share what is so awesome about your book, however you do it. But the first step is remember why it's awesome and then share it. And you think it's awesome. You really do. You wouldn't have written it otherwise. Step one, remember why it's great and speak from there. Yeah. As always, thanks for watching. Hit subscribe if you don't want to miss a dollop. And if you like it, hit like. That's the way people find it. So, till next time, this is Bill Kenower. Stay fearless.